everyone, welcome to Pearl's Kitchen. Hi everyone, today is day 7 of our Christmas week, and today I'm going to show you how to make a full Christmas dinner, and I'd like to dedicate this video to one of the most beautiful lady I know, and that's my mum. It's because of her that I have this love for cooking. May her soul rest in peace. So today also I'm going to show you the reason I'm going to show you this pot roast. Today's roast will be all made in the pot, because just to show people in India who don't have ovens that you can still produce a very good Christmas roast dinner for your family to enjoy. Because that's how we did it when we were kids. We didn't have any gas, we didn't have any oven. My mum cooked a full Christmas roast dinner on a paraffin stove and a wood fire. So if she could do it then, we could do it now. I'm going to show you two kinds of pot roast today, lamb and chicken. So first I'll show you the ingredients just for the lamb, and we'll get the lamb cooking. So in here I've got the pot, it's already on, the gas is on, and I've got half a ladle of oil in there. And then here I've got 1 kg of leg of lamb. You could use beef, pork or mutton. And here on the pot I've got 1.5 liters of water. We'll start to boil that later. And here I've got 4 medium potatoes whole. You don't need to cut them. And here I've got 4 large potatoes cut in half. But here I'll show you how to roast the potatoes without the oven. It'll look exactly like roast potatoes. And I've got 8 to 10 carrots, medium sized carrots. And here I've got 1 ladle spoon of oil. And in here I've got 3 cloves of garlic cut lengthways, 10 cloves, and some rosemary. In India my mum had a rosemary plant. And got some bay leaves, 4 to 5 bay leaves, 1 red chili broken into half. We don't need to make this too spicy, because then you lose the flavor of the lamb. And I've got 3 to 4 cinnamon sticks, and we need pepper, we need salt, and there's a big onion cut in quarters, and I've got 1.5 liters water. So what we're going to do is, I've already washed the meat and dried it with the paper towel. Now you take the knife and you just make slits, and then you just put garlic inside. Not all of it, just maybe a few. Okay, deep slits. And turn it around. Another one here. And then put a few stalks of rosemary around, because the rest will go in the pot, so you'll get all the flavors. Okay, and now take some salt, pepper, press it all. Now what we're going to do is, we're going to put this in the pot. So the oil is already hot. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put this in the pot, and we're going to just seal the lamb, so then all the juices remain in the lamb. So as soon as you think the oil is hot, put it in there. It will take 2 to 3 minutes, and just keep turning it around. It won't take long. Turn it around. So as soon as you feel like its juices that it's sealing it, I'll just turn it around and you'll see. And then you'll need to put the water. go. See, it's nice, getting nice and sealed. Keep turning it. There you go. Doesn't take long now. Now what you do is take all the other ingredients and put it in there. Take the onions and put it in there whole. Take the rest of the oil and put it in there. And then take all that water and put that in there. And you take some more salt, a teaspoon salt, and then put some more pepper. Okay, simple as that. Now what you need to do is, you need to let this water come to the boil. As soon as the water is starting to boil, you lower the heat and let it cook for at least an hour, because this will take a long time to get tender. As you see, the lamb is still boiling, so, and we've lowered the heat because that takes a long time. So what I'm going to do is transfer that there on a low heat, and now we get our second roast going. So here in the pot I've got half a ladle spoon of oil, and we're going to do a chicken pot roast. So there's a whole chicken, and as you see, the potatoes are still there. I'm going to show you how to make roast potatoes without the oven. It'll look exactly like roast potatoes. So the whole chicken, a ladle spoonful of oil. I've got 2 big onions roughly chopped, a liter of water, salt, pepper and paprika. I've got 1.5 inch ginger roughly chopped, a teaspoonful of peppercorns, and as chicken is a bit bland, so you need to spice it up. And I've got 3 whole chilies cut in half, and I've got 3 cinnamon sticks here, 4 or 5 bay leaves, and I've got a half a lime cut in quarter. So what we do is, here the oil is already getting hot. What we need to do is put salt around the chicken, and pepper, paprika, so it will give it a nice red color. Okay, now take a fork and just stab it a bit. So the juices will come out. Now here it's already, you need to seal the chicken as well, like we did for the lamb. Remember, you need a very big pot, bigger than the chicken. There we go, turn it over. Peeling the meat doesn't take long. I'm glad my daughter is not watching me. She loves eating the chicken, but she doesn't like to see it being toasted or cut. Because in India we used to take her to the shop to get chicken, and they used to slaughter the chicken in front of us. She didn't like that at all. Okay, now what we do is put all the onions in there. Put all the ingredients, the ginger, the lime, the oil, pepper, and then put some more salt, a teaspoonful of salt. and a little bit of more paprika. Give that a stir. Turn the chicken over. And now put that water, a liter of water. Chicken is not as tough as the lamb, so you'll have to keep an eye on the chicken. Now we'll add things later into it. So now that's it. Now put the lid on and now let that cook. As soon as the water starts boiling, lower the heat and let that cook for 45 minutes. Okay, in between we do everything else. Keep checking on the meats. So here's the lamb. Turn the lamb over. See, it's boiling beautifully. Looks good. Take the chicken. Turn the chicken over. That's it. Put the lid back. And here, the liter and a half of water, that's now boiling. So now we're going to put the potatoes. Take the 4 whole potatoes that I showed you, because that needs to go in the pot roast with the lamb. So, but all these potatoes and the other 4 potatoes that I cut in half, they also go into the water. So as soon as the water starts to boil, which is boiling now, so you put all these potatoes in here. There you go. Cooled because the potatoes are cold. So as soon as it starts boiling, the water starts boiling, you see exactly 10 minutes and then you need to take these potatoes out. Okay, the potatoes have had exactly 10 minutes, so now we need to take it out. So take the whole ones separate, the 4. Okay, keep that separate because that goes in the lamb. And the ones that we've cut in halves, do not let them have more than 10 minutes. So now just put the gas off and now leave them in this bowl and let them cool down for 3 to 4 minutes, and I'll show you what we do with it. Okay, now to make our pot roast potatoes, I forgot to tell you that when the water was boiling for the potatoes, I had already added 2 teaspoons of salt in the water and then put the potatoes. Okay, so the ingredients what we need is, in the frying pan, I've got a ladle spoonful of oil and that's getting hot, and I need a little bit of coriander, say 2 tablespoons of chopped coriander, and 3 spring onions washed and chopped, and I've got 3 whole big cloves of garlic finely chopped. In India this would be around 6 to 7 garlics because the garlic is tiny then. And I need half a teaspoon of chili flakes, half a teaspoon of salt, and some more paprika. So what we do is, first thing we do is, the oil's already hot, you just put the garlic in the oil. There you go. Let it fry till it gets golden, won't be long. Okay, there you go, so that's done. Now what you do is, because we don't want the garlic in the potato, because when we fry the potatoes the garlic will start to burn, so what we'll do is, you take a tea strainer or any sieve, and all we need is the garlic oil. So toss it around the potatoes. And now take put the salt first. Half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of chili flake, some paprika, and then put all the spring onions, and then put the coriander. Now just toss it a bit. Stir it a bit, and now let it stay in there for at least 10 minutes before we fry it. Now you see the potatoes have had its 10 minutes of resting time, and all the flavors and the juices of the garlic oil and the coriander and the spring onions and the paprika, it's all gone, the flavors are gone into the potatoes. So in here, in the same frying pan, I've got another ladle spoonful of oil. And but before we do that, we need to have a look at the lamb. Lamb's still doing well at this point because it's had half an hour now. So now we can add the carrots that we peeled and cut. Just add them whole. And give it a little stir. Now let the carrots cook with the lamb. Put the have a look at the chicken. Yeah, chicken's doing good. And while the meats are still cooking, we're going to do the potatoes now. You can pick up the potatoes with your hand and put them in the oil. These are such flavoursome potatoes. As you see, the potatoes are still frying. This takes time. So now just halfway between, turn them over. And nobody can tell these are not coming out from the oven. Apart from that, they'll be delicious. So turn them all around. And do them the other side till all the potatoes all around get nice and golden. There you see, all the potatoes have gone golden all over. And that's it, you put the gas off. Nobody can tell that these are not come out from the oven. In fact, it's more tastier than you roast it in the oven. So just take them out in the dish you're going to serve. Don't forget, if you're feeding a bigger family or more people, just increase all the ingredients in here. And there you go. Lovely roast potatoes, hot fried. Okay, let's have a look at the meats again. You can stab it and see if it's getting tender. It is, but it still needs quite a while. It depends on your meat. When I said 1 hour, it might need an hour and a half, so it depends on how tough the meat is. But it's doing really good, and chicken's doing really good as well. Now remember the juices that we put the spring onions and the coriander and the paprika in the potatoes. So that's still left over. Nothing gets wasted. Take all that and put it in the chicken. Chicken will be done before the lamb. There you go. Now let it cook for another 15 minutes or so. You can see the lamb's cooking. Lamb's still needs a lot of cooking, so we don't have to worry about the lamb, but the chicken's getting nice and tender. So now at this point you need to put the gas up fully, and now you need to start frying the chicken. If it breaks and falls apart, don't worry about it, because you have to carve it anyway. But I'll try and keep the chicken whole. The juices are now, see, it's getting thicker and thicker, so now at that time you keep turning the chicken around until all that water dries up. So I'll see you in another few minutes. You can see all the gravy is drying up. The chicken looks and smells delicious, so just keep moving the chicken from here to there without breaking the chicken. And if anybody who wants to have the chicken spicier, now is the time to add 3 to 4 roughly chopped up green chilies. So then that can be fried with the chicken as well. Now keep moving the chicken from here to there. You can see it's going to get brown now. Now as you see, all the juices are being soaked up, and now you can see the onions and the oil, and now you need to fry this chicken. If you can, try and turn the chicken over. If it breaks while you're turning it over, don't worry too much about it. It's already fried that side. Okay, there you go. Try and turn the chicken over, and now you can fry it around the breast side. This will be the most delicious chicken you've ever tasted. My mum used to make chicken, and she used to make goose. Goose also can be made in the same way. It was beautiful, the goose. Very big pot she had, and oh, it was lovely. So keep frying this now. Now that you've turned it over, keep frying it till it gets brown the other side. So that shouldn't be taking long, another 5 minutes. That's nice and brown. Don't need to brown it anymore. And you put the gas off now, and let the chicken rest in there, and all the juices that are around the chicken, the bay leaves and the onions and all that, will make such lovely flavoring around the chicken. So we won't make the gravy from the chicken one, we'll make the gravy from the lamb juices. Okay, so see you in a little while, but before that, so put the lid off, up, and now you can see the lamb is still boiling. It's got a lot of water in there at the moment. So now what you need to do is the other 4 whole potatoes that were boiled for 10 minutes, blanched for 10 minutes, now you add those also in here. Okay, and give it a stir. There you go. And now let that cook for another 15 to 20 minutes. I'll see you in a little while. Okay, as you see, the chicken's done, the potatoes are done, the lamb's still cooking, so now we can make our next vegetable that will go with the roast very well. We're going to make cauliflower and cheese. So for the ingredients for the cauliflower and cheese, here I've got 6 cups of water that I've put to boil with 2 teaspoons of salt in it. I've got a full cauliflower cut into florets, big ones, and I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. I've got an OXO cube in here with 2 tablespoons of hot water made into like a stock. I've got 1 finely chopped big onion, 3 to 4 finely chopped garlic. I've got 2 cups of grated cheese here, 1.5 tablespoon of plain flour, that's maida, and got salt, pepper, and I've got 2 cups of milk. So first thing what we do is, as soon as the water is boiling, you put all this cauliflower into the salted water, and as soon as it starts boiling, see exactly 5 minutes. So put them in here. The water will stop boiling because it will cool down, but as soon as it starts boiling again, you see 5 minutes, and then you take all the cauliflower out. It will start to boil now. So you're actually just blanching it. Okay, Okay, the cauliflower has had exactly 5 minutes. You put the gas off and now take out all the cauliflower onto a plate, but on a plate put a paper towel or a cloth. Cloth will be better, a tea towel, so that it soaks up all the water. There you go. All the cauliflower's out now. And now you let the cauliflower rest for 5 minutes. Let it cool down for 5 minutes and I'll show you what we did. Okay, while the cauliflower is still cooling down, it can take more than 5 minutes. Don't worry about that, because the lamb is nearly getting done. So we now look at the lamb. Yeah, the water is all drying up, so I'll bring this pot here because we need to fry the lamb now. As you see, I turn the lamb over. Oh, it's lovely, breaking into pieces. That's what we want. And these potatoes will fry in the lamb's juice. So keep stirring this till everything just evaporates and everything is nice and golden brown. As you see, the lamb's got nice and fried and brown. So, and the potatoes are also looking nice and golden. So at that point you turn the gas off. The lamb is so tender, it's breaking off the bone. So you just take the lamb and put it in the dish, and then you just take the potatoes and put it around the lamb. So you've got roast potatoes plus parboiled potatoes in the lamb's juices, and then you just take all the carrots and put it around the lamb so it looks nice. So that's the lamb and the potatoes and the carrots that goes on your center table as it is. Now this is a very good for making gravy. We'll let it cool down and I'll show you how to make gravy little later. Okay, now for the cauliflower and cheese. The cauliflower is nice and cooled down, and you can take a frying pan or you can take a wok, and I've got a ladle spoonful of oil. When it's nice and hot, you put all these cauliflowers in there. Okay, yeah, let the oil get nice and hot because we need to slightly golden fry these cauliflowers. Doesn't matter if some of them break because it's good, it will go in the cauliflower cheese better, some of the broken bits. There you go. Now keep the heat up fully because you don't want to cook them, you just want to golden fry them. There you go. It's got a little color. You don't need to fry it too much. Now let's take all the cauliflower onto a plate, and leave that oil in there. Put the gas off and let the cauliflower rest for a few minutes. Okay, now in that same karaya or frying pan, if you're using, a little bit of oil is in there, let that be. Now you add the 2 tablespoons of butter in there. And in the butter, it's alright, it will start melting, you add the onions, the 1 chopped onions. And now you let it sweat for a few minutes. Won't take long. Once it's had 1 or 2 minutes, you need to add the garlic then. Keep stirring it. With all the bits and pieces that were left over from the cauliflower, that's all going to get mixed up in the onions and give it lovely flavor. Okay, now you add the garlic, the chopped garlic. And fry it a little bit more. You don't need this brown or even golden, just like let it sweat for a minute or two. Just keep stirring it. Okay, that should be enough. Now at this point, we add the flour. And now keep frying the flour for at least 3 minutes. Okay, it's had its 3 minutes of frying the flour. And now you add the milk. Keep stirring it. You can even, if you want it very rich, you could put half milk and half cream. Okay, keep stirring it. And now, in the milk you put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and you put some pepper, maybe half a teaspoon, and give it a gentle stir. Now the flour in there will start thickening it, and then you add the stock, the OXO stock, or you could use any chicken or vegetable stock. As the pan's quite hot, this won't take long. And the other ingredient I forgot to tell you was 2 tablespoons of green coriander, because I keep it in the freezer. That's why I only take it out at the last minute. So after a few minutes of stirring the milk, you add the green coriander, the 2 tablespoons. There you go, it started to bubble now. As soon as it starts to bubble, you add all that cheese. Okay, keep stirring. Now that's a lovely cheese sauce. Keep stirring it. Excuse me. Okay. Put the gas on medium. You don't want it to burn. And as soon as you see it starting to bubble, it's time to add the cauliflower. You don't need the oven. It will be quite tasty even without the oven. There you go. Now gently give it a stir without breaking the cauliflower, just from the sides. Okay, now you lower the heat at this time. And now you let the cauliflower cook for exactly 5 minutes, and that's it. You need to put it off exactly after 5 minutes. There you go, it's had its 5 minutes. Now you need to turn the gas off, because otherwise the cauliflower will start to break. It's still bubbling. And now you need to transfer it into whichever dish you're going to serve it in. Okay, gently making sure that the cauliflower stays delicious now. Don't waste all this, just pour all this on the top. Lovely and creamy cauliflower and cheese. Now at this point, if people have ovens, they would have put it in the oven, but my mum served it exactly as it is, and I wouldn't change that for anything. So that's your cauliflower and cheese. So now let that rest for a little bit and we'll get on with other cooking. Okay, so we've got the lamb done, the pan fried potatoes done, cauliflower and cheese done, and the chicken done. Now we're going to carry on with the rest of the vegetables. You can add as many vegetables as you want. I'm just cooking a full Christmas roast dinner that my mum used to make for us when we were kids. So in the wok or in the frying pan, I've got 2 tablespoons of oil in there. We're going to make ginger and cabbage. Okay, so in that oil you add 2 tablespoons of butter. And then here I have a chopped onion. You put the onions in there. Just give it a fry. You don't need to brown the onions, you just need to sweat in the butter. You can make it in all butter, but I've got butter and oil. And while that's sweating, let me tell you here I've got 3 cups of water boiling. We're going to use that for the peas. And in here I've got a tablespoon and a half of oil, and we're going to fry some onion rings in there. But not battered onion rings, just ordinary onion rings. So that once that's sweated, you put the ginger in the onion. Give it a little fry. Let the ginger cook a bit. Yeah, you can smell the lovely ginger. And now there's a full cabbage here, just cut in slices, and now you add the cabbage in there. And then you put, say, around teaspoon of pepper, so it's more peppery, gingery cabbage. And then a teaspoon and a half of salt. And then some chili flakes, like half a teaspoon. That's all you need for the cabbage. And now just stir it a bit. You can lower the heat for the moment. Doesn't need any water at all, because the cabbage will leave some juice, some of its liquid, and the cabbage will cook in its own liquid. Okay, so just give it a stir it a bit. Mix the salt and the ginger and the onions and the chilies all in it. You could put more chilies if you want, but I don't, because then it will become not an English roast dinner, it will become a very hot roast dinner. Okay, so now once you've stirred that, you just need to put a lid on it and still keep it on lower flame, And now let that cook for at least 10 minutes. So while that's cooking, this is hot. Here I've got 4 big onions cut into rings, this round, and you just put that in the oil. And again, very simple. Salt, 1/4 teaspoon salt, pepper, and that's all it needs. Salt and pepper, and stir it a bit. Also on a slow flame. Put it on a slow flame. Put the lid back, and this will cook in its own juices as well. And I'll see you in a little while. You can see the water is boiling, so I can add the peas in the water. I've got 2 cups of peas. You can put as much as you want. Put some salt in the water as well. And now let the peas come to a boil, and as soon as it starts boiling, give it 5 minutes. You can see the peas are nearly getting done, nearly having it 5 minutes. But before that, let's give the onion a stir. See, it's looking good. Put the lid back on, make sure the gas is slow. Same for the cabbage. Give it a stir and let it cook in its own juices. That will go lovely with all your lamb and chicken. So put that lid back again. And now we're done with the peas. Put the peas off. Let me bring a dish. I left a dish here. Okay. Now we just strain the peas in here. Put the peas back in there. And now you can either use butter in here, or you can use some olive oil. I'll use some, just drizzle a little bit of olive oil, let's say one teaspoon or 1.5 teaspoon, and put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in the peas, and quite a generous amount of pepper in the peas, say around 3/4 teaspoon, and give that a stir, and put that in your dish that you're going to serve the peas with. There you go, so that's the peas done. Now back to the onions. These onions are nearly done as well. You don't need them brown, just the right color. Turn that off and take the onions out also in a dish. Now in the same dish, let me move this water here. In that same frying pan that you did the onions, put a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of oil and put the gas on. You can see the cabbage is still being done. And now here I've got 4 big red tomatoes. So all you need to is cut in half and sprinkle salt on them, and then sprinkle pepper on them, and this goes straight into the frying pan. There you go. Now leave it there for at least 3 to 4 minutes till it's nice and brown, and then turn them over. See, the tomatoes have had around 3 minutes, and now you turn them when it's nice and getting brown one side. There you go, and now it needs to get brown the other side. So while that's getting brown, our cabbage is nearly done. how my mum did all this on one gas. Really, really very, very good cook she was. Okay, so now put the gas off. The cabbages had at least 12 to 13 minutes. And now you take the cabbage out into a dish. So there's the onions, there's the peas, there's the cabbage, and the tomatoes are nearly done. Put them off, and take the tomatoes out. Our Christmas meal was a real feast for us. There you go, so that's all the vegetables. If you want to put beans, you could do some beans. You could add more vegetables if you want. So let all that rest and I'll show you how to make the gravy now. Okay, you can see I've taken out the chicken from the pot. Really looks good and the vegetables are still here. Now we're going to make the gravy. So I've decided to make the gravy with the juices of the chicken because there's lots of good things. I don't want to waste it. And we're going to combine it in there. You can make it separate if you want, but I'm going to combine it in there. So here the gas is already on. So here, look at this, all the lovely bits from the chicken. You take it out and put it in here. Don't put the oil, only the onions and all the masalas, because that's all the good stuff. Because in the olden days we didn't have stock and all the gravy mix, so people made their own gravy. Okay. Okay, so now all the juices are in here, all the leftovers. It's looking good. Now you take a teaspoon of mint. If you've got fresh mint at this moment, you can put fresh chopped mint. I'll just put a teaspoon and a half of mint, and I'll put 2 tablespoons of plain flour. Now you keep frying this. Yeah, keep frying this for 2 to 3 minutes and keep stirring it so it doesn't burn. And I'll show you in a minute. You have to add some water. Just keep frying it. Yeah, you can smell the mint now. It's really nice. Okay, the flour that we put in just now, it needs to fry for at least 3 minutes, and then I'll see you then. Okay, it's had its 3 minutes of frying. Now at that time, now you put around 5 mils of hot water in there. Not 5 mils, 500 mils, sorry. Okay, and stir it. You can feel it starting to get thick. Keep stirring it. Let all the juices and all the flavor mingle together. Okay, and then put a little bit more. So in total around 700 mils of boiling water. This will be such a lovely gravy. Keep stirring it. It's nearly done. Because when it rests, it thickens again. Okay, now put the gas off, and now take a glass dish or any dish and a sieve. Now we need to strain all this because we don't want to eat all the cloves and the cinnamon and stuff. There you go. Don't throw away all this goodness, just keep letting all the liquid come out. Okay, you can use a smaller spoon if you want. That's how people made gravy in the olden days. All that gravy, when you serve your roast dinner onto a plate, you just pour a little gravy on top of your plate, and it's absolutely delicious. Okay, get every bit of the juice out. And if you can see if it's, yeah, it looks a bit thick, so you can, because the water is already hot, put another, say, 2 tablespoons of water, and some more juice can come out of it. And that's your lovely gravy, which you can now either leave it in there or pour it into a jug. Maybe too much. Yeah, you can empty it out a little bit. And that's your lovely gravy. So we've done a lot of cooking today. Now we'll go and put it all on the table and serve it. And this, I'm going to show you that in the olden days, when people didn't have ovens and all to keep the food warm, what my mum used to do, it all these vegetables that I've put in dishes, she just had a big tray, and she had onions, cabbage, peas, tomatoes, potatoes, all on one tray, and she just picked up that full tray and put it on the gas, she didn't have gas, on the stove or on the wood fire on a very low flame, and it heated all the full tray, and that went onto the table. As you see, all our food is prepared. It really looks delightful, and it looks like a feast. You can see everything there. The lamb with the carrots and the boiled potatoes, some pan-fried roast potatoes, cabbage, homemade gravy, some lovely peas. There's our lovely chicken, the cauliflower and cheese, onion rings, and our lovely tomatoes. And not to forget the Christmas pudding that we made, and that's for afters to go with cream and custard, and our homemade wine, to which I've just poured. And I'm going to wish each and every one of you a very, very blessed and Merry Christmas. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being part of my journey. I hope you all have a lovely, lovely Christmas. Cheers.